Hello everyone, I'm Parker and we're here to continue exploring new ideas and thinking outside the box. In this session we will continue discussing the issues that children face during their middle school years along with some observable phenomena. These can be broadly categorized into three aspects: first, academic challenges; second, the external societal issues they encounter; and third, the emergence of romantic relationships as they undergo psychological and physiological maturation. Let's begin with the first aspect, which is the academic challenges they face. As emphasized earlier, the transition to middle school marks a crucial period in children's education. After entering middle school, the academic pressure on students increases significantly. As parents or educators, you should be aware of the middle school mathematics curriculum. Take a look at their textbooks and you'll see topics ranging from algebraic expressions to equations, functions, plane geometry, trigonometric functions, and more. This diversity of knowledge may seem chaotic, yet it forms the essential and indispensable foundation for their education. Consequently, students in middle school experience considerable academic pressure during this period. Children's academic performance begins to diverge. Some excel in their studies, making progress and becoming academic achievers, while the majority might struggle without a clear sense of purpose, feeling adrift day by day. On the other hand, some simply give up on learning altogether. Various phenomena and behaviors manifest themselves, however, regardless of whether a student performs well, struggles, or performs poorly. The most crucial issue remains unaddressed: their underlying thought patterns. Without addressing these fundamental thought patterns, students will perpetually face difficulties in their studies. This conclusion is drawn from my years of research and investigation. Let's take a moment to reflect. Is this a fact when faced with the issue of children's academic performance? What they need most is assistance in resolving their thought pattern systems. Have parents and schools realized this problem? In my other lectures I have also discussed whether you as parents and educators understand why children struggle in their studies, particularly in subjects like mathematics. This issue is indeed significant. If you as adults have not recognized this problem and do not understand the underlying reasons, how can you effectively guide and educate your children? Frankly speaking, this could be likened to covering your ears and pretending not to hear. You haven't elevated this issue to a higher level, and as a result you're unable to address all the challenges students face in their studies. And how do children react in such a situation? Their learning becomes a forced and reluctant endeavor, whether it's due to parental pressure, school regulations, or societal expectations. They simply endure it. Most of them experience this, and then there's another group that starts skipping classes and engaging in various other behaviors. Unfortunately, in their minds the task of learning becomes as daunting as scaling the sky, and they find themselves unable to continue. Once a child displays such behavior, both parents and schools become distressed. It's a situation that's hard to rectify because they've reached a point where learning seems impossible. What can you do? Can you force them to learn against their will? If we just let things take their course, what will their future look like? We don't need to speculate. It's something we all know and understand. Therefore, when children are faced with academic pressure, what they need is a concerted effort from parents and teachers to alleviate this pressure. The only way to do that is by imparting to them a strong and effective thinking framework. If we fail to address this fundamental issue, how will they cope with future learning challenges? If they struggle to learn from middle school onwards, then the prospects of high school and college become moot points. So during this period, a crucial aspect that demands our attention is the issue of learning. It requires concerted efforts from both parents and teachers to establish a strong thinking framework for children, effectively addressing their learning challenges. Otherwise, the consequences for them can last a lifetime. It will have the most significant impact on their entire lives. I hope this matter can make all parents and teachers realize its importance. It's the first aspect we need to address. Moving on to the second aspect, there's a growing focus on external matters during this period. These external factors encompass a wide range of aspects from material possessions such as food, belongings and clothing to seeking attention from the opposite sex and even the inflation of their vanity. It can be said that during this phase their sense of vanity has reached its peak and envy has transformed into jealousy. They envy classmates who excel academically, come from well-off families or have more resources. Moreover, the psychological changes that arise during this period are fundamental in nature. During this period, students engage in various external activities primarily as a means to conceal their internal feelings of jealousy, desire and vanity. Their psychological state is relatively mature, which makes it easier for a multitude of issues to arise. What's even more concerning is that they not only develop such psychological states but also engage in behaviors that are not necessarily bound by legal constraints. This is indeed a significant challenge for school teachers and parents. If you label their actions as criminal, they may not meet the age requirements for legal consequences. On the other hand, if you don't classify their behavior as criminal, some actions might still severely breach social norms, moral standards and even legal regulations. Handling them during this period is indeed very challenging. Moreover, during this phase they also start developing an extreme sense of rebellion, which we often refer to as the adolescent rebellion phase. Why rebellion? The manifestations of this rebellion can be attributed to three main factors. Firstly, the need to express themselves. Secondly, the influence of vanity. And thirdly, the emergence of the most intense form of jealousy, which is arguably the most worrisome aspect during this period. Both parents and schools find it challenging to manage students because of their rebellious phase. In this rebellious period they act without reasoning and disregard consequences. They resist all forms of restraint, whether from parents or schools. They may think that they are invincible and that they can do whatever they want. It's as if they believe the world revolves around them. Their actions are driven by their desires and they don't feel constrained by any rules or norms. The disturbing external behaviors that emerge during this period are manifestations of their psychological state, driven by factors like vanity, jealousy and other mindsets we discussed earlier. During this period each family has its approach to disciplining their children. Some may be lax in their discipline while others resort to physical punishment or harsh words. Many families I've investigated, to put it bluntly, lack a correct and effective approach, and certainly not one that focuses on shaping their children's thought patterns. Most of the children who exhibit this phenomenon of adolescent rebellion are those who struggle academically, particularly in subjects like mathematics. The more poorly they perform academically, the more intense their reactions tend to be. Why? It's often a way to divert attention from their poor academic performance, a form of willful ignorance about their understanding of many things. In reality, they are aware of their situation. They envy those high-achieving students, the academic stars, and yet they also feel jealous. They struggle to address this issue, and that's why the phenomenon of rebellion emerges. It may even manifest in the form of school bullies targeting high-achieving students or younger ones. This might escalate to acts like stealing pocket money or other such behaviors. In society for adults, these behaviors would be considered criminal acts such as robbery. However, in schools the usual approach is to involve parents. Reporting such incidents to the authorities often yields limited results, since they may not take action due to the student's age. As a result, during this period a sense of fearlessness can develop among these children. It's precisely because of this situation that certain actions, when they exceed the boundaries set by societal norms and laws, can become truly alarming. The fundamental reason behind these significant changes in children is still rooted in their thought patterns. You may ask, don't they know they are wrong? They do. Some children might misbehave with their parents, resort to physical altercations, or even damage furniture at home just to extort money for entertainment outside. Do they not realize that these actions are wrong? They do, but they deliberately choose to act this way. In today's society there's an explanation for these behaviors. It's called the adolescent Rebellious phase. However, these rebellious actions are essentially these children pretending to be ignorant while understanding the consequences. Why do they act this way? In reality, they are testing the limits of their parents. They rebel just for the sake of rebelling. The more you try to teach them to do well, the more they may insist on doing the opposite. Furthermore, they develop a mindset of "I'm the boss, no one can control my thoughts." Once children adopt this mindset during this period, it can have a lasting impact on their lives. As they grow older, they may not fare well in society. Why is that? It's because their hearts have become hardened. If their behavior during this phase isn't curbed or guided properly, the consequences can last a lifetime. Of course, it's not to say that all adolescents who go through the rebellious phase will inevitably turn to a life of delinquency. When they grow up, there can be transformations and changes based on their environment, objective realities, and other factors. However, if the mindset and thoughts developed during this period are not properly guided and redirected, the potential harm can be significant. It may even lead them down a path toward criminal behavior. Reaching such an extreme level, it is indeed important for schools, parents, and teachers to recognize the objective existence and reality of the issues you've mentioned. If we fail to provide guidance and address the psychological challenges that adolescents face during this period, allowing them to continue down a negative path, there is a real risk that they could turn into criminals or societal burdens. As parents or educators, if the children we raise become a burden to society or engage in criminal activities, there is a sense of dereliction of duty. Our responsibility is not only to provide academic education but also to foster well-rounded individuals who contribute positively to society. All stakeholders must work together to ensure that adolescents are guided toward a positive and constructive future. Although there may not be a legal way to hold you accountable, have you ever considered this issue from a moral standpoint? The harm you bring to society is significant. You have nurtured a criminal for this community, someone who violates others, infringes upon their interests, and descends into a path of corruption. Have you ever pondered the implications of your actions, your irresponsible attitude, or even your self-righteous thoughts on society? The magnitude of the harm you've caused is substantial. What purpose do they serve in this society? I once told a friend, "Don't hope that a child will become a great person in the future." What does that require? It requires you to instill a certain mindset in them, enabling them to realize on their own how to become great. Right now, the minimum standard you should have for a child is they must not harm society. This is the moral bottom line for all of us as parents. Here the discussion about morality comes up again, and I'm not sure if this viewpoint is correct. It's my perspective. If we don't have this moral bottom line, then when we're nurturing someone harmful to society, I believe as a parent you're contributing to human wrongdoing. I don't know if what I'm saying sounds a bit heavy and whether fellow parents can accept it or not, but regardless of whether you accept it or not, this is the objective reality we're facing. I will delve further into the topic of morality in my lectures on that subject. Let's consider another aspect. Around the third year of junior high school, many students have already undergone physical development and begin to experience attraction towards the opposite sex. This attraction is no longer simple. They are moving toward sexual maturity. Of course, when it comes to this issue, many parents and schools are simply unable to control it because at this stage students have grown up and can avoid school, parents, and even people they know. They engage in some activities secretly and you simply cannot manage them, so you can't blame parents and schools for this. However, we must realize the emergence of this issue. Many students have already engaged in sexual activities, which is a concerning phenomenon because they may not understand responsibility and may not realize the importance of mutual responsibility after engaging in sexual activities. Of course, in many countries such matters are commonplace, not given much importance or not considered a significant issue. In this matter, every country region different. religious beliefs, diverse cultural traditions, and what is considered a moral boundary vary significantly. We cannot establish a unified standard for such issues. For now, focusing on this phenomenon, it is observed that a significant portion of students engaging in sexual activities are often those who struggle academically. Why is that? Their energy is abundant and they might neglect their studies during this youthful period when their energy levels are high. This is a result of psychological and physical development reaching a certain stage with a lack of focus on studying and a greater emphasis on external matters such as relationships with the opposite sex. These issues become more likely to arise. Moreover, during this stage, many students' behavior may also be aimed at attracting the attention of the opposite sex. You can see that certain students, for example, try to make themselves look more attractive, dress stylishly, and even use makeup to catch others' attention. They also develop feelings of admiration and jealousy among each other. Some classmates, upon seeing another student in a relationship, might feel the need to follow suit. All of these phenomena are quite normal. However, the emergence of these issues can be attributed to two factors. Firstly, not focusing on studies due to abundant energy, and secondly, schools and parents not providing them with proper education. You might deny this point and you might say, I've talked to them a lot, but what you're telling them is what you're saying. You haven't made them realize at their age. At this point they should be responsible. You haven't made them realize that their actions should be responsible towards society and others. They are not aware of it, so if you don't provide them with a proper thought process, how can they become aware? It's as if they are not afraid of anything. They do whatever they want, however they want, without considering the consequences, just following their desires and doing whatever they feel like doing. The problems that arise during this period are indeed significant, and I understand that, for example, in many countries students are separated by gender during this time with boys and girls schools, but this doesn't prevent them from engaging in inappropriate behaviors outside of school. I've also seen in many countries that even in boys' schools students might finish classes and still seek out girls from other schools to engage in activities they shouldn't. These phenomena exist and cannot be completely eradicated. The core issue lies in education. Specifically, the education provided by schools and parents. Of course, many countries also face social education challenges, including religious education. In some countries, children attend religious places on Sundays or other rest days to listen to lectures about religion. However, can these lectures have a significant impact? I'll tell you, it's unlikely. The reason is that they don't perceive the severity of these issues from their perspective. They don't understand how to approach these problems or what actions to take. Simply hearing you preach won't lead to a deep understanding. What you say today might be forgotten tomorrow. How can you expect them to truly internalize and follow your guidance and teachings, especially during this age of youthful recklessness? They tend to be fearless. This is precisely why many significant problems arise. During this period, I'm not sure how parents and teachers perceive these issues, but it's important not to shift blame or avoid responsibility when problems arise. I believe that everyone shares some level of responsibility, so I want to reiterate once again on this matter. If you truly want to address all the phenomena arising from students' adolescent rebellious phase, you must provide them with a solid, comprehensive and well-structured system of thought. Without such a framework, I must candidly say they might continue to spiral downwards. This is the reality we face. This discussion primarily focused on the junior high school stage, addressing some external behaviors and phenomena exhibited by students as well as the approach to dealing with these issues. The only effective solution is to establish a positive framework of thought for them. Without such a solid framework, their perspectives on the world, life, values and ethics could become distorted. I cannot deny the possibility that they might improve as they progress to high school and university. However, if they do not take their studies seriously during junior high, the prospect of the high school and University stages might not even be attainable. Therefore, I have always believed that education during the junior high school stage is fundamentally crucial and foundational for them if we fail to establish a strong framework of thought for them. During this period their prospects could indeed be worrisome. This is a point that serves as a reminder to all teachers and parents to pay serious attention. Of course, I also hope that the education systems worldwide can take this matter seriously if the global education systems integrate the Big Tree framework of thought theory into their curricula, enabling students to learn and apply this framework to conduct rational analysis, reasoning and argumentation for all issues. I believe it would not only enhance their academic achievements but also have a profound impact on their entire lives. All right, that concludes this discussion.
Friends who are interested in my lectures, please click to subscribe and click on the little bell. At the same time, the links to the Big Tree Thinking Model Theory ebook and the Big Tree Thinking Model and Junior High School Mathematics lectures are here below. Friends can click on the link to watch related free lectures. Thank you all.